and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This Saturday morning video is a wee post-match review of Celtic's excellent 4-1 win yesterday evening against Falkirk in the second round of this year's Scottish League Cup. A game with lots and lots of Celtic chances, lots and lots of excellent play by Celtic, and 4 goals, and lots of very encouraging performances, and many of Celtic's best players looking like they're back to their best form or very close. And by far Celtic's best performance out of the 3 so far in competitive games. In today's video, we'll have a wee look at the key incidents and the goals, my own player ratings, the stats for the game. And also, as we go through, 1 or 2 wee thoughts regarding Celtic, the players, the tactics, the formations, etc. Brendan Rodgers put out a wee bit of a 50-50 side, some backups, some starters, some players kept on the bench just in case, and a few players given another game so that they're fully match fit for the vital games against Kairat Almaty next Wednesday and the following Tuesday. So players such as Johnston and Tierney and Maeda especially were given another run out to get them fully up match sharp for next Wednesday. So we started with Sinisalo in goals, back 4 of Johnston, Murray, Trusty and Tierney, midfield of McGregor and Engels and McCowan, out wide on one side Forrest, on the other side Maeda, and slightly surprisingly through the middle Johnny Kenny. And also worthwhile mentioning that Dane Murray earlier in the day signed a 3-year extension to his contract, so he's with Celtic for another 3 years till summer of 2028. I have to say personally, very surprised to see Johnny Kenny get the start. I think much more important in terms of preparation for next Wednesday that we gave Adam Idah a confidence building, form building run out, maybe a couple of goals, and certainly with the number of chances Celtic created, I'm very, very certain that Idah would have popped a few of those away. Other alternative was to give Shin Yamada the start. Again, I think Yamada and Idah are going to be much more important for Celtic this season than Johnny Kenny. I think in the pecking order, Idah and Yamada are currently 1 and 2. They probably should be 2A and 2B behind a designated number 1 striker, but that's not the situation at the moment. Although maybe over the next couple of weeks we'll add in a designated number 1 striker to take over that role. Anyway, Celtic off to a brilliant start, tons and tons of pressure, playing with lots of pace, lots of intent, and actually I counted in the first 15 minutes, Johnny Kenny had 5 good chances to score. Second minute, nice cross into the box, driven across. Kenny very much slow and on the back foot. Chance was lost. Same again in the 6th minute. This time a brilliant cross by James Forrest. Again, Kenny slow, not making a good run, not being in the right place to put away the ball. 9th minute, blazing a pretty easy chance over the bar. Nice cross by Maeda, laid off by Forrest, right into the path of Kenny. Rather than taking a wee second or so just to calm himself, then shoot, he shot it in a hurry and blazed over the bar. 12th minute, another great cross by Maeda again. Kenny slow, not making the right kind of run. 15th minute, he was put through 1-on-1, and the goalkeeper seemed to slow down when he should have kept on driving into the box and then hit a rather weak shot from the edge of the box. Having slowed things down, he should really have waited just a few seconds, because Maeda and the midfielders were joining him and would have had a much easier chance to score at the time. Also, in the first 15 minutes, we had Scott Bain, the ex-Celtic goalkeeper, making 2 great saves, one from Callum McGregor and one from Kieran Tierney. And then in the 24th minute, Celtic hit the bar and post with a brilliant curving free kick from Arnie Engels. On another day, that hits the post and the bar and drops into the net. However, 26th minute, Celtic did take the lead very deservedly. Cycled the ball, lovely dinked header by Kieran Tierney back across the box, and Dyson made a brilliant diving header, put Celtic up 1-0 after 26 minutes. Celtic kept up the pressure as the first half carried on for the next 20 minutes. To give Falkirk credit, they did have a couple of good chances, forcing Sinisalo into two very good saves. We also had three rather wasted chances in the last 20 minutes of the half from Celtic. A rather weak header by Arnie Engels at the back post. Another weak header, this time by James Forrest, practically 6 yards out, the whole goal to head at. He put the ball over the bar, and Luke McCowan had a great chance to score from around about the edge of the box. Pretty much everything was clear for him, but he blazed the ball over the bar. So unfortunately, at half-time, Celtic just 1-0 up. Things carried on pretty much in the second half. Celtic very much the better team. James Forrest this time shooting across the box. Another good save by Scott Bain. And then Johnny Kenny missed his sixth good chance of the game. This time a brilliant front post corner delivery with lots of pace and curve from Arnie Engels. And this time Johnny Kenny rather poor front post header, wasting an excellent chance to score. Happily, Celtic did get their second goal, this time Alistair Johnston. Great curving left foot shot, having driven into the box. Nice pressure and hassling by Celtic out on Falkirk's left back area, forcing them into a mistake. And Alistair Johnston, as I say, drove into the box and a brilliant shot to the far corner with his left foot. Then some very impressive work by Austin Trusty, working actually in the Falkirk attacking zone. So well out of his normal position. However, he harried and hassled and pressurised the Falkirk defender who's trying to bring the ball out of his defensive zone, and forced the Falkirk defender into conceding a corner rather. And then another brilliant in-swinging corner from Arnie Engels. Lots of pace, perfectly positioned, and this time a brilliant header across the goal into the far corner from Dane Murray, putting Celtic 3-0 up after 61 minutes. Celtic then made a few substitutions. Off went Kieran Tierney, Dyson Maida, and Johnny Kenny. On came Yang, Yamada, and Liam Scales. And 1 minute later, brilliant driving run by Yang from outside the box, inside the box, beating a couple of men. Brilliant cross across the 6-yard box. And the Falkirk centre-back was forced the ball into his own net. Had the Falkirk centre-back not missed it, Shin Yamada was perfectly placed ahead of the defender and would have had a very simple tap-in for his first Celtic goal. However, Henderson, the Falkirk defender, chose to boot the ball into his own net, and Celtic 4-0 up. Slightly disappointingly, Celtic did then concede a goal in the 67th minute. Liam Scales not really closing down the Falkirk wide player, who then hit an absolutely brilliant, unstoppable shot right across Viljami Sinisalo, and Celtic ended up 4-1 up at that point. Celtic kept up the pressure, made a few more substitutions. Off came Forrest and Engels, both of whom were getting a wee bit tired. On came Nygren and Paolo Bernardo, and I actually was quite impressed with Benjamin Nygren coming off the right wing. And I do wonder whether that might be a way that Rodgers puts Engels and Nygren into the same side by using Nygren out wide on the right. And then one option would then be bring on Forrest or Yang in his position and drop Nygren from out wide on the right to a more central position to replace Engels. I think certainly Engels' ability to deliver corners and direct free kicks and crosses could be a massive factor in both the home and away legs against Kairat Almaty. as if we do go with players like Scales, Trusty in the box, we do actually, and Ida for that matter, we do actually have 3 players who are attacking threats with headers from corners and direct free kicks. However, getting back to the game, after that substitution in the 77th minute, the last 50 minutes were a bit drab and boring. Both teams kind of playing to keep the score at 4-1. Yang made a couple of more good runs later on, some nice defending by Austin Trusty, clearing the box when Falkirk did get the ball in and around Celtic's box, and things tailed off, as I said, to a nice 4-1 win for Celtic. Looking at the stats for the game, all very much showing Celtic were by far the best team. Possession was 76-24 for Celtic. Shots 19-6, of which 8 were on target for Celtic, 6 on target for Falkirk. 8 on targets for Celtic, 5 on targets for Falkirk. And both goalkeepers, Sinisalo and Bain, made 4 saves. Off targets were 6 for Celtic, 1 for Falkirk. Interestingly, in terms of Celtic shots and Falkirk's shots, 5 of Falkirk's 6 shots were from outside the box, and 8 of Celtic's 19 shots were from outside the box. I think that's another tactic that could work well against Almaty on Wednesday, as away from home they do tend to have 4 defenders, then a bank of 2 or 3 defensive midfielders in front of that, and so shots from outside the box can often be very useful against that tactic as well. Corners were 16-2, and crosses into the box were also 16-2, both in favour of Celtic. And Celtic also had 5 shots blocked by the Falkirk defenders. All in all, very much shows Celtic much the better side. In terms of match ratings, I've given Sinisalo 7 out of 10. He made a couple of very good saves in the first half, a couple of simple saves in the second half, and I thought he actually got the ball out into the defenders very quickly, rolling the ball out, throwing the ball out, or from quick by kicks, and I thought he did a great job also on a few times being the sweeper keeper. Gave 8.5 and man of the match to Alistair Johnston. Brilliant in defence, organising things really well alongside Dane Murray, pushing forward into midfield, pushing forward into the final third. Lots of lovely passes and crosses, some very good interaction with McGregor and Engels and McCowan and Forrest. Some nice delivery into the box, lots of good overlapping runs, and of course he did score Celtic's vital second goal, so 8.5 man of the match for him. Given 7.5 to both Murray and Trusty. I thought they formed a very good partnership again. They played well together in the pre-season games, and I think Trusty and Murray gives us that bit extra height in central defence. They've both got extra pace. Murray also is that bit bigger and stronger and holds off attackers really well. I was really impressed with both of them. Trusty also really good passer, I think. Unlike Scales, who tends to dither and take 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, Trusty virtually always passes first time or takes a quick touch and then a second touch, and Trusty gets the ball from left wing to right wing so much quicker, or as the middle person from taking the ball from right wing to left wing. Trusty, I think, is a far better passer and gets Celtic going forward and organises things nicely. Scales, a lot of the time with Scales, there's dithering with passes, or it's another simple pass back to Tierney, McGregor, or the goalkeeper, and Celtic don't get the ball forward. Trusty, I think, got the ball forward so much better than Scales, without there being any loss of defensive ability. And indeed, I think Trusty's wee bit extra pace kept Falkirk's wide players under control when at times Kieran Tierney went a wee bit further forward. Kieran Tierney, given an 8 to, I think, again, it was his best performance of the 3 competitive games so far for Celtic. Several very good crosses, set up the goal for Maeda, a couple of shots on goal as well, and lots of brilliant runs down the left side, working far and far better with Maeda this time than previously, and they seem to have developed an understanding of how to interact and how to play off each other. and several times brilliant long sweeping passes from Tierney down the left wing for Maeda to run onto, and that's a very encouraging sign for Wednesday's game. Given Callum McGregor 8 out of 10, I thought did a tremendous job keeping everything flowing, always available for passes, getting himself into spaces, a few times tracking back to break up attacks. I think he had one of possibly his best games so far this season, and he did have one good shot that Bain needed to save. That was a well hit shot from outside the box. Given Arnie Engel 7, I thought his delivery from corners and direct free kicks were brilliant. Not quite so good from open play. Wasn't a bad game in open play, but his brilliant corners and direct free kicks and dead ball situation really bumped him up to a 7 for me. Luke McCowan, I was a bit disappointed in him this time. Did get the whole game, but I was a bit disappointed. Gave him 6 out of 10. He certainly worked hard. No one can not give him that. Just thought he wasted quite a few chances. He was that bit slower than all the other midfielders and fullbacks in the game. And several times he kind of um, things went a wee bit stagnant when McCowan got on the ball. Given James Forrest a 6 out of 10. He worked very, very hard, made lots of good runs. Just several times he seemed to be that wee bit too slow to get past the fullback or to cut inside the fullback. However, when he did have that bit more time and a bit more space, he did deliver a few lovely crosses that on another day would have been a goal, and did have himself in the box to header over the bar, although that really should have been one that he put away. And I did think he got a bit tired in the last part of the second half. After about the 50 minutes or so, he kind of went anonymous for me, and so I dropped him to a 6. Johnny Kenny, I gave a 5 out of 10. He missed 6 good chances in the game, either by poor shot execution or just by not making the right run or anticipating things as well as a striker should do. And I do feel had Yamada or Ida been in the box for those 6 chances, that at least 2 or 3 of those would have ended up as goals. But Kenny just seemed 1 or 2 steps behind where he needed to be and didn't quite have the striker's instincts to be in the right place at the right time that you require at this level. Maeda, I've given a 7.5 to. I think it's his best game of the season by far. Lots of lovely runs up and down the left-hand side. Scored a goal. Several brilliant crosses to set up chances for others. Tons of energy. Also tracked back brilliantly. 3 or 4 times he ran back the length of the pitch to help out Tierney and Trusty on the left side of defence. And it was like having the real Dyson Maeda back. In terms of the subs, I've given Liam Scales 6.5, Nygren 6.5, and Shin Yamada 6.5. I think they all had good touches when they came on. Shin Yamada a couple of times got himself into great positions in the box. Was it not for the own goal, he would have had a tap in for his first goal, and a couple of other times just the final ball wasn't put in the right place for him. Yang, I've given a 7 to. I thought he had a great game coming on, lots of good runs, got himself in the box for a header that went over the bar, a couple of nice runs into the box, one of which got the 4th goal via the own goal. Nygren, I think, some nice touches out in the right wing, driving in on his left foot, some nice passes, some good intent going up and down the wing, decent pace as well, and I'd say I do wonder whether we might try him out there on Wednesday and then bring him in centrally when we take off Engels around about the hour mark. And given Paulo Bernardo 6, bit disappointed in Paulo Bernardo, didn't really get himself involved in the game, did have one shot that was deflected over the bar, but otherwise pretty anonymous. Liam Scales, I thought he did a fine job in defence, showed good ability pushing forward into the final third, didn't have an awful lot of defending to do. I thought he was slightly at fault for the Falkirk goal. I think he could have closed down that player better. And for that reason, I dropped him from a 7 to 6.5. But I do actually like Liam Scales as the left-back option when Kieran Tierney comes off. Hopefully, in time, Kieran Tierney will be able to play the full 90 minutes. And I do wonder whether, when it comes to the first Rangers match on the 31st of August, that might be the game that Celtic are aiming for Tierney to play the full 90 minutes. Hopefully, we do so well against Almaty next Wednesday that we can afford to give Tierney a bit of a rest or a shortened match over in Kazakhstan. That just about finishes things off for this Saturday morning video. As of around about 12 noon, no other Celtic news of note. Celtic may well be looking at a few different players in terms of bringing them in. There are some interesting videos up on the David 67 channel over the last few weeks of players such as Munteanu of Cluj, Strelic of Slovan Bratislava, this new potential wide player Umar Traore, who plays for Al Jazeera in the UAE, and several others such as Jacob Broom and Clement Bischoff and Michel Ange Balikwisha. So if you do want to have a bit of a closer look at any of those players, there are videos or profile videos about them all. That just about finishes things off, as I'm saying. As I go, just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement for anybody not yet subscribed. Please do click that subscriber button. Keep the numbers pushing past 1,350, and do feel free also to pop your own thoughts regarding yesterday's performance, your own match ratings where applicable, and your own thoughts as we go into the Kairat Almaty game next Wednesday. And so, until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.